Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. It's your boy Mike. We're back at you one more again live on a Thursday night. I hope everybody's doing all right. First and foremost, shout out to my lovely wife, Takara. Appreciate everything you do. Y'all make sure y'all show us some love in the comments. And don't stop there. Definitely show us some love. Show the channel some love. Hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And make sure you smash that notification bell as well so you can get notifications each and every time we drop a video here on the channel. Shout out to the audio only gang. As you know, audio recordings of Clutch Conversations are available on all major podcasting platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. So definitely when you're checking us out on your favorite podcasting platform, please be sure to follow, rate, and review. It really helps us out. We really appreciate the feedback, really appreciate the support. Speaking of support, if you're involved in this reptile hobby in any shape, form, or fashion, make sure you're supporting US Art and US Art Florida. The link for both organizations are in the description of this video. If you're not a member, definitely go grab your membership. If you're able to donate, donate what you can. Be sure to spread the word also about both these organizations that help protect our rights as reptile keepers. So definitely tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Before we get to our sponsored video tonight, I got to share some unfortunate news about one of our sponsors. So Harry, owner of Reptile Lifeline, a name that you have heard as a sponsor of our show, Harry tragically lost his life while helping the stranded motorists. That's one thing that Harry would always do. He always helped people out. And so it's a very unfortunate event. As you can expect, his family is facing a tough time. And so right now there's a GoFundMe set up to help with funeral costs and other immediate needs. We've always appreciated Reptile Lifeline support. And so it's now time for us to show our support and give back. So if you can, please consider donating even a small amount. Anything that you can donate, anything you can donate helps make a big difference. The link for the GoFundMe page is in the description of this video, so it's easy to find. Definitely feel free to reach out to me. Still having some ongoing discussions with the family, but Harry did have quite an extensive reptile collection. He had about 7 reticulated pythons. He had 2 blood pythons and about 100 or so ball pythons. So we're working with the family. We should have some more information on that soon, but definitely going to be trying to rehome most, if not all, of the reptiles. So definitely stay tuned for that. We'll give you more information as we have more information. But again, very tragic, unfortunate, sad incident. Harry was a good guy. He was always helping folks. So anything that you can do, anything that we can do to help out, spread the word. But definitely thank you for taking a moment to honor Harry's memory. And so, like I say, we'll get back to you with more information. So on that note, we are going to go to the next sponsored video, but definitely if you can help out, that would be very much appreciated.
Big dreams start in small towns. Small Town Xotics is a family-ran business that specializes in high-quality ball python morphs, western hognoses, and select leopard geckos. They are proud members of US Art Florida, and the Orient Society. Stay connected with Small Town Xotics on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Witness their journey as they grow their business and showcase their animals to the world. Thank you, Small Town Xotics, for sponsoring the show.
Art comes in many forms. At Armless Angels, it comes to life.
Shout out to the sponsors. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Shane. Really appreciate all the support. Got a lot of folks in the chat tonight. Let's say what's up to some of the early birds. What's good, Rock? Thank you for coming out, brother. Appreciate you. Big Wiz in the building again. What's good, bro? Thanks for coming out, man. Shout out to the Wiz Tang Clan. If you're not following the homie Patreon, you need to do that. Join. It's a dope group. Lots of good information, lots of good fellowship, lots of good chatting, all that good stuff. Definitely join the Wiz Tang Clan Patreon if you're not already a member. So shout out to the whole crew and shout out to the homie. Also, make sure you check out Sophisticated Ignorance Podcast every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, Freddie, what's good, bro? Thanks for coming out, fam. Big Brian 352 in the building. What's good? Herbert, what's good? HB Reptiles in the building. The big homie Bosa, what's good? The Sultan of Support himself. Appreciate it, fam. Will's hella heat, what's good, bro? Thanks for coming out. Appreciate the support. Casey, what's good, brother? Appreciate you coming out. Thank you for the support. Ken, what it do, bro? Thanks for coming out. Appreciate the support. Let's see who else we got. David, what's up, brother? Thanks for coming out. Appreciate the support. See who else we got. Make sure I don't miss nobody. Sammy, what's good, brother? Thanks for coming out, fam. Appreciate the support. North Star, what's good? Thank you for coming out. Kent, what's up, bro? Thanks for coming out, man. Y'all make sure y'all check out Ken's podcast every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, if I'm not mistaken. Shedding Your Skin. Definitely go check that out. Ken, drop it in the chat. Who you got this week? Morph Master Johnny, Morph Master J, what's good? Johnny, thanks for coming out. Pat, what's good, bro? Thanks for coming out. Shout out to the V Unit Click. Think that's everybody. We're gonna kick this intro and we'll be right back.
Baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor, I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead, just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the heat up, spit this cool. Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this?
Episode 77, Redhead Reptiles. What's good, bro? How's it going?
Hey, man, how is it going? I feel like number 77 should be a lucky number, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we're lucky to have you tonight, bro. Good to have you.
Thank you for inviting me. I want to give a shout out to Small Town Xotics, a sponsor. I didn't know he was supporting Orient Society. I actually used to work for the Orient Center for Indigo Conservation over here in Florida. So,
did you?
Yeah,
Nice.
that kind of hit close to home. That's really cool.
Yeah, Shane's a good guy, man. Real supportive. Shout out to the sponsor.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So real quick, for those who may not know you, someone who comes through later, give us a quick introduction and tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh, man. So Redhead Reptiles started breeding back in 2018, I think. Started keeping around 2016, but I've always been in love with, reptiles, dinosaurs, snakes, all that. Never really thought about breeding to start a business or anything. It was more just like a hobby. I wanted to make, combos that weren't created at the time. God, back then it was, like a leopard crystal or something I wanted to make, just really basic stuff that, it's been made 1,000 times now. But I just had a couple combos I wanted to hit, and Eventually, like 2017, I went to Orlando Repticon, talked with Bob Fu, and yeah, he just got me interested. Like, if you enjoy it, might as well try to make money at it. So, it got me thinking that maybe I could start a business out of it. So I dove a little bit deeper into the business side of things, which eventually got me into real estate and business and all that. But yeah, just kind of been keeping it small over here. Originally, I thought I was going to be a really large breeder, but then I went to work for a couple large breeders, and I'm like, yeah, I like my freedom. My time freedom is, you know, worth more to me. So yeah, I'm just doing a couple clutches a year now. Probably right now going to uh, slow down a little bit and kind of reframe my approach. Just with events that have happened over the last couple of years. So I think right now would be a good time for me to kind of restructure everything.
Gotcha. So actually, a perfect segue into my next question because I want to talk about the way you built your collection because talk with different people have different strategies in terms of like how they want to focus and just kind of like how they developed in that space and in terms of like when they first started, their mindset was one way versus now it's a different way. So kind of talk about like your evolution in that space. How did you build it at the beginning and what was your thought process and where are you trying to take it now?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I made pretty much every mistake that they tell you not to make. Don't buy snakes because they're pretty. I don't think I made the mistake with too many males. I probably made the mistake with too little amount of males. But yeah, I just kind of started buying what I wanted to buy. Um, didn't really have any aim or direction for my projects. Again, it was just kind of like hitting those one-off combos that I really wanted to hit. But as I started like communicating or not communicating, but like getting involved with the hobby more and all that, going to more shows, talking to more breeders, kind of got a better idea of what I wanted to make, and started working some desert ghost projects, clown projects, etc. Um, but yeah, right now I have a pretty good idea of what I'm wanting to hit. The stuff that Oz was making last year with the OD Cypress black pastel clown combos. I mean, those things popped, and they didn't have DG, they didn't have hypo, they didn't have super OD in them yet. There was just some stuff in there that I definitely think we could expand on that project. So, going back to the whole restructure approach, probably going to let go a lot of my animals. Definitely keep it small, but really nail down on that project.
Gotcha. And so are you gonna work any other recessives in that project or are you gonna focus kind of like with those type combos?
Well, I would love to work the Hypo Clown project. That's always been a sweet spot for me. DG clowns are beautiful. Nobody can knock that. But I think I would want to add hypo into that project first. Unfortunately, just with the way the market goes, I believe Robbie has the coolest twins on IG. I guess we'll have to talk about that at some point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the market isn't like as hot with hypo as it is DG or other combos. So selling them might be a little bit more difficult, but in the end, like they're animals that I would want to make, and I believe that if I made them, like people would go, like they would just be awestruck by them. So I don't think they would have too much of a issue selling. But yeah, like I said, end of the day, if it's what I want to make, that's what I want to spend my time on. I don't want to chase anybody else's dream.
Absolutely, 100%. And you may have heard me say this before, but I mean, honestly speaking, it's a bunch of hypo clown stuff that I like better than DG clown stuff. I'm just put it out there. Like that's how I feel about it. And I'm gonna stick to that. And like some of those combos you were talking about, like I think like, those will look better with hypo than they will with DG. I mean, maybe you could put both of them in there, like have some triple versions, like 15 years down the road.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like the hypo clown version, like it's really gonna pop, bro. Like, and I feel like people sleeping on hypo. Do you feel like that's gonna change? Because I do hear a lot of more people talking about hypo and giving it props, right? So do you feel like that's gonna change?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it deserves more attention. I always have, even when I started back, still when hypos were at the time they were one of like the um, you know main projects you could get into, but they were still a little bit lower valued in the market. But I've always enjoyed them. I love the way they look, just like the hues on them and everything. Like I have that GHI Mojave Fire Hypo Girl,
Mhm.
and you cannot get a snake that looks more like blue steel. Just that look to her, like it's unbelievable, and I want more of that. Um, and that snake to me is better than some TGs I've seen. So I do hope that it gets more attention. My buddy just hatched a black pastel hypo clown. They've been produced 100 times before, but that is still one of the nicest looking animals that you could see hatch out of an egg. It's just an awesome looking snake. So I do hope that it gets a little bit more traction, at least for people wanting to buy them on the market. But as far as like producing them, that'll never get old.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. They got to put some respect on Hypo name.
Yeah, right, right.
My favorite snake in my collection is a spot nose hypo clown. Like fairly simple combo, obviously a double recessive, but fairly
Yeah.
simple in terms of like codoms and whatnot. And she is just as beautiful today, if not more beautiful than she was the day I got her. Like
That's the thing. Hypo
her,
like DG, it doesn't age like non-hypo or non-DG animals do. And yeah, if you just kind of keep on working genes into that, like you can get those animals to glow.
yeah, it's insane. Like I just take her out and like just look at her, like just
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah.
just in awe. Like and she never disappoints. Like even when she's in shit, she never disappoints. Like
It's almost
beautiful
better,
girl.
right?
Yeah, I can't wait to get her going. Like she'll be going probably like another year or so. She may even go next year. It kind of just depends.
What's she at now?
Obviously, probably about like 11,
Oh
close. Yeah. So she keeps down the path that she's going, and she decides she's ready to go. Then yeah, we getting her in the rotation.
yeah. I had a 3-year-old girl, GHI Senni head hypo, and she was like 1100. Not a great eater. Still isn't the best, but she was old enough, and she was kind of like showing signs of like getting through into the cycle. So I paired her, and dude, like she just became a food eating monster. Like it was insane. She grew, like she gained so much weight um, over a short period of time, and eggs came out great. Like the whole thing was great, and it actually got her eating a little bit better. Now she's taking a break, of course. But yeah, it's amazing how like just the simple act of copulation can really like enforce an eating habit in them and make them grow so much in so little time.
100%, 100%. So where's your hypo game right now? Like what all kind of codoms you got worked in it?
Right now, like I said, I'm kind of slacking, honestly. Just with the last couple of years, I've been kind of everywhere. So my developing of projects has been dramatically decreased, as to where I would have rather that it be. Um, I have a couple like GHI head hypo stuff, that GHI Mojave Fire hypo girl. Trying to pair her with the OD Batman. That's the only male I got right now for her, but it'll create some nice double heads. Um, and let's see what else. I'm not gonna remember like half the snakes because that's just how it goes.
That's how it goes. You're like, oh, I should have talked about that one. I should have talked about that one.
Exactly. But like so I'm working redhead too, and just to put this out there, I did not create redhead. The gene, um, people have asked me that 100 times. As soon as Justin started promoting it more, I messaged him and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to create like some sort of automatic reply to all these messages coming in saying, no, I did not make it. It's not mine. But redhead looks really good with hypo too. So maybe down the road I'll start adding some redhead hypo stuff in the game. So yeah, like I got several girls that are either head or visual for hypo. So if I can start finding like a good Cypress Clown male or something, that'll get me on that right track for the OD, Cypress Black Pastel Hypo Clown stuff.
Gotcha. It's funny you mentioned like not having enough males because that's one of the things I did at the beginning too. Like I got so far on that don't get too many female side of the spectrum that I was just like I was way off on my males, and so like I felt that pain like last couple breeding seasons. It's like I
Yeah,
wish
man.
I had more males in this project, and maybe I could either take it a different way, or I would have a backup. Like when one of the males was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
So
you gotta have backups for your backups, man. Like I kept on buying females, and I'm just like, oh yeah, they'll be ready in a couple years. I have plenty of time to think about the males I'm gonna buy and everything. Then like 2 years pass, and I'm like, man, I really I slacked on that. Um, so yeah, it's a good lesson to learn. It'll make you not do it again, but
yeah,
um, yeah, just tricks of the trade, I guess. You hear people say don't do it, and then you do it, and
yeah.
it's
And
like,
then
man,
you're like, oh, that's why they said don't do
yeah.
it. Yeah, hopefully I had some nice males this year. If I had some nice males this year, I'm definitely gonna have some holdbacks, and they'll help me out in those projects. But
Well,
yeah,
if you got girls with like spot nose hypo clown, it's gonna be hard to mess that kind of pairing up. You'll be good.
so what's your collection size right now?
Right now, it's around 70, maybe a little less. I'm trying to sell off a lot of these animals. A lot of them were given to me by Oz. After I was let go, so it's kind of like a severance package. So when I made it back here, really took inventory of what I got, and not gonna use those animals. So I'm trying to get rid of those. Um, After I do that, my number will probably be around 40, maybe 50 or so. And even then, I'm really gonna slim down. I'll probably keep this rack, and I'm picking up a new rack in Daytona, and that'll probably be it for me.
So what project are you shedding, or what projects are you shedding, or is it
Yeah,
more like just
it
like
a bunch of random stuff.
a bunch of
So,
random stuff?
yeah, yeah. So, there's a couple nice animals. Like there's a OD hypopide girl, 50% head ultramel, couple clown stuff. But yeah, like I said, if it's not gonna help me with the project that I kind of got my eyes set on, it's not worth keeping around. I've kind of learned that lesson. So
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think. Well, hold up. Shout out to the Big Rooster Show. What's good? Thank you for coming through, brother. Appreciate the support. Yeah, it's like you say, you live, you learn. Like you kind of go through some of it and you see it. Because I don't know, like for me, like some things I hear and I know not to do because like I'm in talking with people and it just kind of like it resonates with me in terms of like not doing it. But some stuff like you hear it, but it don't really like stick, and you
mm,
end up kind of like going down that path, and not even like just to be like purposely hard head. It's just like you kind of end up down that path by virtue of like some other decisions you make, and then like you start to see it and you start to really like understand like why that was great wisdom that somebody shared with you that you just didn't pick up on, you missed it, but now hey, now you know, and so now you know better, so hopefully you do better.
yeah,
So
no, exactly. It's the same thing as telling a child not to put their hand on the stove top. Well, sometimes you got to learn the lesson for yourself. But like you and I have had some great conversations about like personal growth and development and all that, and that's one reason why I like to reread a lot of these personal development books, because you pick up different pieces of that book each time you read it because you're at a different stage in your life. So there could be something that whiz through the first time, it just didn't make any sense to you, and then you have more life experiences, you reread the book, and all of a sudden, oh man, that makes so much sense. I had to learn that lesson myself, but now I see it, and now I can work with that moving forward. So
absolutely, 100%. So did the move affect your season any?
yeah. So like I said, the last few years have kind of been, you know you take what you get, I guess. If you look through everything with a lens of nothing is either good or bad, just what can you learn from it. Learned a lot from it, but about 3 or 4 months before I moved to Maryland, pretty much stopped pairing because I didn't want to deal with the eggs coming up. I didn't want to deal with all that. So I stopped breeding then, and then had the year up there, and we were pretty busy. So, I wasn't like 100% on my breeding plans and all that. I was kind of just pairing to pair. And then again, once I knew I was moving back down, pretty much took that whole time off. You know, that the move up, the move down, definitely pushed some animals off cycle. Some of them have skipped 2 years now, so my production is not good. It hasn't been for a couple years now, but you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Gotcha. So let's dive into that a little bit. And like I'm a firm believer, like no matter like what happens, like there's always something good that you can take from it. If you can learn something from it, you can take some good out of a situation, right? And so talk about like your experience moving up to Maryland, kind of how everything went down and you moving back and kind of like some things that you've learned and picked up on. I know you touched on one thing earlier about you don't want to be like a huge breeder. So talk about some of those lessons and kind of like how it's made you a better person for having gone through that.
Yeah, no, great question. I learned a hell of a lot about myself. I hope that that's okay if I use that word.
Go ahead, man.
Um, yeah, I learned a lot about myself, which is great. I'd always been that type of person that envied the type of people that could just get up and go, move somewhere. I'm the introvert, I'm the hermit, and for me to have done that, especially with all these animals, have the support of my family, helping me move and all that, that was incredible. That was an experience I'll never be able to forget. Not only that, I love the area up there. Like I instantly within a month, I'm like, this is home. You just vibe with an area and it just feels great. Um, you and I were talking about the weather before this. Weather was perfect up there, man. It was so good. It was not Florida weather. Um, and I'm a Florida boy. I was born in Florida, and I hate this place. But but we the move up there was great. Me and Oz, we developed a very special connection. You could have considered us like family, pretty much. And the nobody could explain it, but the market slowed down, and I think it was, I don't know, like September, October is when things were starting to get like a little hairy. And it's like, wow, this is really slowing down. And then January had to let me go. So within, I think it was 10 days, I had to give my apartment notice if I was going to renew the lease or not. And I had no other job prospects up there. I was just like, well, I'm either going to stay up here and have to find a job that I don't know where to start to look, or I can think about going back down to Florida where my roots are. Thankfully, within a couple days, I found a great job that I'm currently in right now, working in a real estate startup company. Things are going pretty well so far. In fact, I just started a business last week, so things are going great with that. But yeah, man, it's just like I learned a lot about myself in the sense that I can do a lot more than I thought I could. I learned a lot about the snake hobby, the history of the industry, um, lots of little tips and tricks along the way. Um, but yeah, it was a good experience, and I'm never gonna say it wasn't. I just I think we all wish it would have ended a little bit differently. So
Cool. So what were some of those historical tidbits? Like, can you think
uh,
of any like cool stories?
uh, I mean, like nothing that comes to mind right now, but just you know, the whole Tiger King thing with, Joe Exotic and all that. I mean, the reptile industry had its fair share of stories. And, there were just some stuff that me and him would talk about. And it was just like, dang, that happened? Really? Holy cow. Like, oh, yeah, I know that name. Wow. Didn't know that. So, I mean, yeah, obviously talking with anybody, Justin, Ozzy, you're gonna hear some stories from when they first started way back, and like I also had some amazing experiences. I got to meet Brian Barczyk, great
Oh,
dude.
nice.
Yeah, just a really down to earth guy. He was one of the people who got me into animals, just like everybody else. Um, so that was really nice. I got to travel a little bit, meet new people, and yeah, all around, it was definitely a great learning experience for sure.
Nice. What are some of the tips and tricks you learn? You learn any good breeding tricks?
Yeah, man. Just timing. Timing is everything. Feeding. Um, I always thought I was like feeding okay. until I, started working for Oz, and I'm like, oh, you can feed these animals pretty well, like, not to the point where you're like, overfeeding, but just like in the wild, they are, you know, they're opportunistic. So if they're breeding and they need that weight on them, and there's a prey item that comes along, they're going to take it. Obviously, you're not feeding until they're full, like too full.
Right.
You can feed them a couple items each feed period, or each meal or whatever. Um, so yeah, I was like, oh, okay, that's good to know. And you know, there was that. There was just like the whole system he had in place, especially like, for the business and all that, documenting stuff on Excel, doing these cards back here, just tracking things a lot easier than I had originally done. So I picked up on those, you know, things, and kind of used them as my own as time went on.
Gotcha, gotcha. You said, did you mention whether or not you were ultrasounding earlier?
Yeah, so Oz never ultrasounded. He always palpated, and
Okay.
kind of like he just has an eye for it. But I do ultrasound, more so like for to be proactive with my pairings instead of just like pairing because I'm still low on males. I want to make sure that they're put where they need to be when they need to be. So yeah, I like to ultrasound for sure.
Are you any good at palpating?
I can do it if if the follicles are pretty big and the girl's, cooperative, but yeah, not the best. So,
Me either. Me either. Like, I feel like I'm better than I was because like
yeah.
when I first started talking about like palpating on the show, it's like, man, I can't do it at all. But now I feel like when the follicles are a little bit bigger, I feel like I feel a difference, right?
Yeah,
And I
well,
don't know if it's
so
all in my head, but I feel like it feels different. It's hard to explain,
yeah,
but I feel like
it
it feels
is.
different.
The way he did it, like, he would literally lift up the animal, so it would be like he would be holding it, and the midsection right here, you could see a visual swell, and at that point, you knew she was gravid. So, like, that's a little bit after you're trying to search for follicles and everything, but it made it a lot easier than having to go through every girl and just ultrasound, turn on the ultrasound, try to find the follicles. Oh, she's 25 millimeters or whatever. Like, you lift up the girl, and if she's bulging, and I got a good eye for it the way he did it, it was just like, oh, done deal. He just knew it, and that was really uh just really cool to see that kind of experience being in the hobby for, however many years. It's just like, wow, you got an eye for that.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. Like maybe one day I'll be there.
Yeah, yeah. It's still gonna take me some time, man. Everybody asks me like, "Oh, what'd you learn? What'd you learn?" And I'm just like, man, it's just like the whole, like, every day you're going in, you're picking something up or whatever. It's like you don't learn like one big lesson. It's just like the accumulation of all these tips and tricks and all that. And like I said, I'm on video, so I'm gonna forget everything. Like, but
I should have talked about that.
right, right. Yeah, no, it's just like, you know, when you surround yourself with people, they say you are the average of the five people you surround yourself with. And if you're the dumbest person in the room, you're in the right room. Well, I like to be in that situation a lot and learn from everybody else in the room. So when I'm surrounded by people, like there was a day that Justin and Sebastian came over to Ozzy's place, and I'm sitting at the table with Justin, Sebastian, and Oz, and I'm like, "Why me?" Like, major imposter syndrome, but I'm like, "This is where I need to be because I'm just going to learn so much from them." And there were amazing conversations. We had conversations about business, about breeding, about life. It was just like its own little mastermind, and that's an experience I'll never forget. But if you were to tell me like, oh, what exactly did you learn from that? It's just like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to
It's so much,
really
yeah.
say it. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Nice, nice. So you touched on the real estate a little bit, and so like I know we've had conversations before, and we've talked about like the self improvement and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about those subjects a little bit. So talk about kind of like where you're at right now with real estate, and then let's go from there.
Cool. So before I went up to work with Oz, I was actually a property manager for around 250 units over in Central Florida area. Gave me a backbone. That was a stressful job, but it's great experience. And actually, I got introduced to real estate from or by Oz. So he's the one that kind of like got me into it. And I see it as a wealth building platform. Snakes is great. You can make some money doing it, but you got to invest that money. And real estate is a hard asset. It's, what do they call it? That hedge against inflation. So
Right.
there's inflation, you know, costs on everything goes up, but real estate prices also go up. So if you own that asset, you're pretty much safe. Obviously there's crashes and all that, but if you hold on to real estate, you shouldn't hurt too much. But I digress. So right now I'm working for a startup company where we pretty much run this marketing services for our clients that are looking to have real estate leads come across their table just to see if they want to purchase them or not. And we also deal with the acquisitions and negotiations, transaction coordination, and all that. So far, we're nationwide. We've expanded a lot since January, and things are going well. I'm actually, like I said, I started up a business last week with a partner using the company's services that I work for. So,
Nice.
yeah. So we're marketing right now in Central Florida, and we're sending a lot of mailers out every month, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up a few properties. Our goal will probably be to assign them to other people and just make a split on them for now. But totally believe real estate is a long-term game. You really got to look into it if you're interested in building any sort of wealth.
Are you going to BPCon this year? I think
I
it's in
went to it.
Orlando, right?
Yeah, I went to it last year. The If I'm being like 100% honest, the networking was much better than the classes that they had. Like I was actually able to connect with a lot of great like-minded people, learn a lot, made great connections. The classes were a little hit or miss. Some of them were great. Some of them were like, I could have read that on a blog. Like it wasn't anything great. But I don't know if I'll be making it to this one because I think my company might be doing an event in Arizona the same weekend. Um,
Okay,
so I may be out of town for that. Um, if I am in town, I'll definitely have to think about it.
gotcha. Okay,
If
yeah,
not, you'll find me at the bars near the area to try to talk some real estate, with some people who are heading out from the BPCon.
nice. You still keep in contact with any of those folks?
Oh yeah, yeah, man.
Right. Nice.
That's the lifeblood of any industry. You got to keep those relationships.
Yeah, networking.
Yeah,
Yeah, your network determines your net worth.
I love it. There you go. It's so funny. You get a bunch of these people who are focused on like personal growth and all that, and we just throw around these like sayings and all that, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, that one." That's a good one." People not in this world are just like, "What the hell are you guys saying?"
But yeah, man, even in like the reptile industry itself, like just making those connections, and that's why I like going to shows because you get to like make that face-to-face connection with people. And you're going to Daytona. When are you getting to Daytona?
Getting there. So Thursday night should be
Okay.
there. So I'll be there all weekend. It'll be great. And if I could go back to like the whole relationship building and all that, like I would not be, or I would not have been given the opportunities I was given if I never decided to reach out to people. I've held several jobs just because I made myself uncomfortable and pushed myself out there. A lot of the connections I've made have given me opportunities that I would have never had to begin with. It's amazing what happens. When I started out, I thought it was just a uh, animal hobby. I didn't want to talk to any breeders. Didn't like that. I just want to see the animals and don't care about anybody else. And that was when I was a kid. But I started talking with all these breeders and making friends and everything. Like, that they pushed me to create an Instagram account. I never had any desire to do that. And now, it's where it's at right now. I was told to send in resume to Justin just on a whim when he was hiring back in 2019. And all of a sudden, me and Justin are pretty good friends now. It's just we had a couple great conversations. I came up there for a while, and we were just you know good friends at that point. The thing happened with Oz. Everything that has happened has been because I developed those relationships almost as hard as I worked with these animals. And
Yeah.
it's so important.
Yeah, and you weren't afraid to like shoot your shot either.
Oh no, no, I've fallen flat on my face too before. I remember like trying to work for somebody in the Central Florida area, like so hard. I was just like, man, I gotta get somewhere. So I want to work for one of the top breeders. And turns out that guy was like a total scam. And he like the animals he was taking care of were like mite ridden and all that. And I'm
Oh
like, man,
wow.
the bullet dodged. Like I never, worked for him or anything, but I didn't know any better. I was just trying to put myself out there. And yeah, I think that's the other thing. Like people might need to be careful who they idolize. It idolize or the just being infatuated by people with large corporations, businesses, whatever, high social status. Like they're just another person. You don't necessarily know them until you do know them, and then it's like, oh, maybe I wouldn't have thought of them this way if I had known them better. That's
Yeah.
another conversation.
I mean, they put their pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah, man. Everybody's the same.
Yeah. So
God, I remember meeting Oz for the first time. It was at Daytona years ago. I was shaking like a
oh,
schoolgirl.
wow.
Yeah, my mom was with me, and she's like, "He's just a guy," and I'm like, "But you don't understand. Like this guy made Orange Dream. Like holy cow." Yeah, it was just funny.
Is your
But
mom in the reptiles?
she hated snakes. She was the reason I never owned one like for years. And I finally broke down or broke her down, and she was like, "Fine, you can have one." So I came home with two. And I was like, "All right." So you know, my mission was to eventually get her on my side, like, "Hey, that they're not bad animals and all that," and we're getting there. She likes them, she can touch them, but she's still like a little hesitant with them. But she does she loves them. She loves that two-headed snake. That's her baby. So it's kind of fun to have the family involved. And if I ever do vend, I don't know if I will. She's always wanted to help me out with that, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice. I mean, that's progress.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, sure.
Everyone in my family that's scared of snakes, they're scared of snakes, and there's been no progress made. So
Yeah, at this point, man, let that ship sail.
so yeah, that's cool, man. That's definitely progress. So speaking of the two-headed snake, so give us the backstory on that.
Yeah. So at the time I was up in Maryland, and like I said, I stopped pairing because I didn't want to deal with eggs moving up there. So right before I moved, of course, naturally, two girls were about to lay. So I gave them to my buddy, Mere Mortal Morse, Derek, and he was keeping them, holding on to them for me, so he could incubate the eggs and all that. Um, they laid, and he was incubating them, and time goes by, sends me a text, "Hey, they're hatching." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I was hoping for redhead spot nose clowns, redhead clowns, excuse me. And I think it was working out, and all I see on the text on my phone from the peripheral was like, you know two something snakes, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I got twins. That's awesome." My first time. That's really cool. And the text, I reread the text, and it said like two-headed snake, and I'm like, "There's no way." So he sent me a picture immediately, and sure enough, two heads. And at that point, I was just like, I was honestly more. It's funny. I was more upset that I didn't get what I was hoping for than I got the two-headed snake. I'm just like, I could have won the lotto. I would have been so much happier. But no, I got a two-headed snake. I just wanted a redhead spot in this clown. Like the odds of that versus a two-headed, come on. But yeah, so after that passed, I was just like, okay, that's kind of cool. Not many people do it. I told Oz, he was freaking out. He's like, "What? Like, that's amazing!" And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not a redhead spot-nose clown, man. That's what I wanted. Like, come on." But yeah, so I, you know, wasn't even sure the animal was gonna make it out of the egg because it's down in Florida. My buddy has to drive him up at some point. We were planning that trip all along, but now I'm kind of like telling him, I'm like, try to keep that thing alive. Like, I don't really know what's going on with it, but we'll see if it's gonna thrive. So yeah, he drives up with it, hands me over the two-headed snake, and I'm like, great, what do I do with it now? Like, it's a weird animal. So luckily I was able to contact Brian Barczyk. I know he's taking care of a lot of them. And I had a couple other people I could reach out to, and they gave me tips, just what I should be doing. And so far so good, man. I mean, I treat it a little bit differently than my other snakes. Definitely give it more attention because of the kink in the back of the neck. They can't really push themselves up properly to drink water out of their cup. So every day or every other day, I go in, make sure they get a nice sip of water, feed them maybe once every 10 days. I usually feed the left head. You will see on all my reels that go viral with them, every single question is, how do you feed them? And
Yeah, that was about to be my question.
Yeah,
I was gonna be quiet for a minute and wait to see if you said it, but if you didn't say it, it was coming.
Yep. After I answered it about the 1,000th time, I'm just like, just read the comments, please. Like, my God. But yeah, so I feed the left head because that is a more dominant head. I've fed the right head a couple times. It just does not receive the food as easily. Not even receive, but it just doesn't have that instinct like, hey, maybe I should open my mouth and clamp down on this food. It can still eat. It still goes to the same spot, but the left head is a lot easier to feed. Both heads are completely functional. And I would say probably 9 out of 10 times I feed the left head. So obviously after September will be a year. So after almost a year of feeding mostly the left head, I can pretty much assume it's safe that the right head doesn't need to eat. Not to say that I won't feed it, because, if it has its own brain, it probably wants to have that instinctual drive take over. But as far as keeping it alive and keeping it thriving, what I'm doing seems to be working. So I'm just going to, fingers crossed, hopefully it continues to go well.
That's dope, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I mean, this would be a question for, everybody, but like, would you sell it? If it had a high price tag, would you sell it? Because I've had buyers reach out, and
really?
Yeah, some people that you guys would probably know. And it's like, at a high price tag, money looks nice, but who's to say, one, like, you would have to vet the buyer. Some people I know would be able to take care of it, but who's to say they wouldn't sell it to somebody else? So, would it suck that you receive a message in a week saying, hey, it died? Two, it's become, kind of like that priceless pet animal, the family pet. It's just like, you're never going to make another one. So it's kind of, do you really keep it, or, do you just like sell it just for the money? So I don't know. I've kind of gone back and forth with it. And I guess I'll just hold on to it right now. Just make sure it's, thriving properly and all that. But yeah, it's just kind of a question that's been coming up, and I guess we'll see where it goes.
Have you sexed it?
I have not. There's a little kink on the nub of its tail right next to the cloaca, so it's very difficult to do that. And honestly, like, I'm trying to not stress the animal out enough, or as much, just because I know the number one reason that they pass away is heart failure. And just with stress and all that, I really want to try to keep that down to a minimum. So I know a lot of people want to know, and eventually I'll try to, get around to it. But worst case, it freaks out, something happens, heart failure, dead animal. I would be upset about that if it was just me trying to figure out something stupid. Or a lot of people want like x-rays and all that, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable taking it to a vet and putting it under a machine, having it x-rayed just for a picture, and then taking it back.
What about a shed test? Like you can just run a sex
Yeah.
test through a shed test.
Yep. Somebody told me that the day after it shed last, and I threw it away. Unfortunately, it's only shed twice in its life. So it is a slow shedding animal, slow growing animal, because I don't overfeed it. So yeah, next time it sheds, I'm definitely saving that for sure. And we'll figure it out that way.
Yeah, that'll be the route to go because that's relatively stress free.
Yep, exactly. God, having them shed is kind of funny though, because like both the heads will shed, and then the neck, because it's connected, the skin doesn't like come off easy. It doesn't like roll off, so you have to go and kind of like unzip it almost so it can roll off. But other than that, they shed pretty well.
Okay, that's what's up. How much do they weigh, or does it weigh?
Not much. Probably. God, I honestly have not waited since it was a baby. Probably a little over 100, maybe. Like it's a small animal, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just like if you held it, you would kind of understand. Like, yeah, no, it's not built 100% like other animals, so you don't want to feed it too much. It actually, the first half of its life, when it ate, it became constipated, and it would not urate or go to the restroom. So I would have to actually give it enemas, like
Wow.
every month and a half or so. It would just be so bloated, it wouldn't pass. And I tried to soak it and all that, didn't happen. So I would have to kind of go in manually and do that myself. So I always made the joke to my family. It's like, if you ever wonder what Robbie's doing at 2 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, I'm giving an enema to a two-headed snake. So nothing too out there.
Yeah, that's why. I think on that note, we're gonna take a quick pause for the calls and do a quick sponsor shout out.
Peace and love, family. We invite you into the heart of our serenity, Ancestral Royal Pythons. At Ancestral Royal Pythons, we're not just breeders, we're nurturers of love and growth. Each of our high-end ball pythons is a tribute to the grandeur of the natural world and our dedication to quality. Reach out today and bring one of our creations into your home. This is Ancestral Royal Pythons. Your journey begins here.
Here's to the exciting world of Ebony and Ivory reptiles. From unforgettable parties and events to keeping and hatching some of the dopest reptiles in the reptile hobby, we're all about education, quality, integrity, and respect. Hit us up and see how we can help make your next project a reality. Experience Ebony and Ivory reptiles, where fascination meets fun.
Ebony and Ivory Reptiles.
Shout out to the sponsors. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Matt and Kendra. Really appreciate all the support. So next week, so you say Thursday, you're getting Daytona. You got like any plans? Like what's on the agenda for you? Obviously going to the reptile show, but you got anything else special planned?
There's a reptile show.
What?
Yeah. I was just going to party. Yeah, no. So Thursday night, I think there's a dinner being planned, so I'll probably go there. My sister lives right up in Ormond, so I'll be spending the night with her over there. Friday through Sunday, I'll be walking around at the show. It's been a while since I've had vacation, so I might have a little bit more beach time than normal. But yeah, no, you'll definitely see me walking around the show and talking with everybody. It's actually I think so. I went to a Tampa show a couple months ago. You and I talked there, and that was the first show I had been in Florida since I got back. But I still haven't seen a lot of my buddies that are around here. So I know they're going to be at Daytona. So I say I'll try to spend more beach time up there this weekend or next weekend, but it'll probably be a lot of talking. So.
Yeah, Daytona gonna be lit. Are you going? Because this year they got like the VIP pass. Are you gonna do that?
I don't know. That's to be determined. It depends on who's there. Obviously, I know a lot of great people are going to be there, like in the show Friday.
Right.
Um, but honestly, like if I can meet a couple people outside the show, and that can be my beach day, I'll definitely take that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm actually picking up a few racks myself.
nice,
Hatchling rack and a grow out rack from Chris.
sweet,
What
good.
rack did you say you was picking up?
Me, I'm picking up another Freedom, Freedom
Okay.
breeder. It's going to be kind of like split. The bottom couple are going to be 70s for the larger girls, and then the top are going to be the baby. I forgot the number, but the baby tubs. So gonna be kind of like just with that rack and this rack, I should have plenty of enough, to last me a while. Um, so yeah. How many animals are you up to right now?
About 100
Nice,
ish. Yeah,
nice.
probably a little bit over 100 right now with the hatchlings.
Yep, yep.
Probably like more close to like 110 ish or something like that.
Hmm.
Like roundabout there.
You breed your own rats?
ASFs.
ASFs. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. I supplement it with rats though from a local guy.
Cool.
I got a few that really prefer rats,
Yeah, yeah.
like a handful, and so like I get rats from him for them because like I just refuse to pay retail for the rodents. Like it's
They're getting crazy,
I
man.
learned that lesson early, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Especially
Like
in the hotter months, man, when nobody's rats are breeding. So I used to breed my own rats, and glad I did it. Didn't like it, but it's just another part of the job. And when I moved it up to Aussie's, he had somebody doing it for him, and God, that was so nice just to be able to pick up the rats. So I don't breed it anymore, but it does kind of hurt when your rat supplier is just like, yeah, I don't have that supplied this week. It's just like, great, now where am I gonna go? So yeah, man, it's good you have your ASFs going though. Those are great to have around.
yeah, yeah. I really like the ASFs. Like we're gonna stick with those.
Yeah,
Um, I'm actually getting some real good growth too, like from the ASFs. Like
that's good.
obviously they're not as big as like some of the rats that we're feeding. Like they don't. I don't know. Like I don't weigh them or whatever, but just by like looking at them, I can tell that like the rats are bigger and whatnot. But when you look at like the growth, it just it's totally different in my opinion.
Yeah, I've heard
It's not
they're
even
slow
opinion;
to
it's a
grow,
fact. Huh?
but I've heard they're slow to grow from like when they're born to the feeding size. But that's awesome, man. And like me and Oz would talk like if we could switch mainly like purely to ASF, that would be preferred. It would just be easier. But with Georgia and other states banning the breeding of them and all that, it makes it very difficult.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I've never bred anything but the ASF, so I don't have anything to compare it to, like as far as like the growth rate.
Mm,
But for us, like right now, like I actually got the opposite problem. Like I got a whole bunch of older ones. That's like, man, because like right now nobody's eating because like all my girls getting ready to lay. I got a couple meals off food, and so like most of my best eaters, they're not in the game right now, and so
yeah,
now it's starting to like stack up and stack up. Like I'm probably have to sell some soon, either sell some or freeze some off because I'm running out of space with the
yeah.
amount of enclosures and stuff I got.
Yeah,
So
I was like, man, I really need a boa or something when I was breeding those rats. Just something like a garbage dumpster for those breeders. Like, oh man, what do I do with these things? But yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned to you, I actually used to take care of a group of bloods for one of my friends too. So at a time, I had almost 30 bloods, a couple boas as well. So that was during the move up to Maryland as well, and all that. So definitely a chaotic thing. But bloods were definitely one of my favorite species other than ball pythons. It was those and hognose. I was kind of like, should I expand into another species? But decided, you know what, no, simple is best. So ball pythons are just where I'm gonna stay. I think like probably for good, honestly. Like I'm I don't want to say lazy, but I don't like a lot of responsibility outside of certain cases. And when I start adding on species and everything, and every species needs its new just care and all that, like that eats up a lot of my time. And it's not that I don't enjoy doing that. It's just that I like spending my time doing other stuff. And if that prevents me from building wealth and, carrying out my dreams and all that, like, I need to make sure I'm focused on my right goal. So I eventually said, hey, man, can't take care of the Bloods anymore. It's just, I, I'm at a fork in the road right now. So eventually I had to give them back to him. But yeah, just, I love those animals. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep it pretty small, I think.
Yeah, that's a smart choice. You don't want to like overload yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because
And I totally did. It was a lot because, like, so I was taking care of Oz's collection, and then I would come home and take care of my collection. And at the time, it was 100, maybe 115 or so. Um, and 115 animals, it's not too bad. You can take care of it pretty quickly. But when you're coming from a full day of taking care of those animals and then coming back and doing the same thing, it really starts to, like, holy cow, like, the days are
yeah,
pretty long here. But it just gave me a better perspective on exactly what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go.
yeah, yeah. If it wasn't for Takara and her helping out, like we would have a lot less probably. Like we would be doing a lot less just because between like work, everything else that's going on, and doing the snakes and stuff, like it can add up quick. And at the end of the day, like I was saying, you don't want it to not be fun. You don't want to overload yourself because you're suffering. The care for the animals could suffer. Like all those things can go downhill quick, fast, and in a hurry. So you definitely want to not overload yourself and make smart decisions.
Yeah, man, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. A lot of people, like, I don't talk about this a lot. I've pushed, like, some personal stuff on Instagram before, just like, oh man, I'm not feeling it now or whatever, and everybody's helped me gone through it. Um, and man, right now I'm feeling burnout. I really am, and it's not the state of the market. It's not the sky is falling. It's situational. The stuff that's happened to me, I've given it my all for over a decade now, and I'm at this point now where I'm at the fork in the road, and I see my collection and then I see real estate. So, right now I'm working on real estate, so the collection is going to go down just so I can put more time into real estate. But yeah, it's just like right now, like you'll see the Instagram posts and all that, happy go lucky, whatever gets the likes or whatever. But yeah, I'll be 100% honest. I am in 100% burnout mode right now. And I'm just waiting for it to, calm down once I get rid of a lot more animals. That'll give me more time to appreciate what I do have. And, hopefully that will get me out of the dip. But right now, yeah, it's just like kind of that slog. I've been through it before. Everybody has. Just got to get through it. Still have a passion for them. That's never going to go away. But I think, some people might need to be more vocal about it because I know the community definitely likes to help out. So.
Right, 100% respect, bro, for being transparent about that. So, what are you doing now to kind of like address that? Aside from like obviously like shedding some of the animals, but are you doing like any kind of other activities to kind of balance some of that out? Whether it's like working out,
Yeah.
any kind of things like that.
Yeah. Love exercising. I have a pretty solid routine. Been doing that for a while now. Many people didn't know I used to be a very heavyweight person. Used to be like 250 pounds. And now I'm, very physically active and fit. So I like putting time into that every morning. Like I mentioned earlier, I haven't had a personal vacation in a very long time. And with 2 moves in a year and stress and all that, I think it's about time. So I have never really traveled too much. So I'm thinking about doing a personal vacation where I just go and see if traveling is something that I enjoy, just because I like haven't been out of Florida, but like a couple times outside of the Maryland trip. So definitely looking to, explore, do something for myself there. Got a couple other little hobbies. But I think it's important to say I'm putting enough time into the animals that they need, but I'm not overdoing it to burn myself out even further, because I don't want to get to the point, like you said, where it doesn't feel fun anymore. And it's not that I'm at that point. It's just, I want to make sure that I don't burn myself out more than I already feel, and I can focus on other stuff while I wait for this to come back, and then, I feel better grounded.
Yeah, and proactively keeping yourself from getting to that point. That makes
Exactly.
perfect sense.
Yeah, I got to keep busy elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. 100%. So you touched on the market a couple of different times. So what are your thoughts on you think the market's going to like rebound? Like what are your thoughts?
I honestly don't know, and I couldn't tell you I hold a crystal ball, but one thing I can tell you is you're not going to take people's passions away. You know, um, how many cycles in the economy have we seen since historical records have been recorded? Dips are going to happen, the highs are going to happen, and everything's going to happen in between. Um, I don't know if we're going to see the prices that we did ever again. Well, maybe for like the crazy combos that just blow everybody out of the water, maybe. But 20,000 for a DG clown, that's going to be stretching, especially in this economy. And with going into the whole economy thing, like with the way that's been going, stuff is getting more expensive. People are having less money to spend on their hobbies, and they're not being handed money anymore. So it's like, hey, gotta get groceries this week. Maybe a snake can wait.
Right.
Yeah. So right now, it's going to be important for people to really figure out what they want to do, where they want to go with their projects, and I'm all about. It's one reason why I like Oz's approach. You refine every year. You take you take your number of animals and you don't go above that, but you like get rid of all the animals that don't fit your quota or your quality that you want in your collection every year. So every year you're churning and burning what just doesn't fit in your projects anymore. Yeah, you're maintaining that number so you don't overextend yourself, and you can pivot a little bit easier if the market does decide to change, instead of people who have thousands and thousands of clutches, hundreds of clutches. If stuff starts to not sell, then they have all of those animals to feed, and they're the ones that are really going to be hurting. And I don't want to find myself in that position. That's a nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah.
Being stuck with last year's babies with 100 clutches plus coming this year on the way with no end in sight. That that just sounds like a nightmare, like I said. And um, going back to the market, I think it's going to stabilize at some point. It's just gonna take a while for us to figure out where it's gonna go.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head in terms of the overall economy and its impact on like where we're at right now in the hobby or in the industry. Like when you got to choose between snakes and like you said, grocery or gas or anything like that, like medical bills, like all that stuff just going sky high. Like
Yeah, and like if we're just to talk straight, you know, if you have $100,000 to invest, not many people do. If you have $5,000 to invest in yourself, invest in education that will help you invest in other investments later. Invest in real estate. You can invest $100,000 in snakes, and I'm not going to tell you can't make money. Like you could definitely make money, but it's not scalable. That money that goes into real estate, you can scale that if you know how to use it. And I'm again, I'm at that fork in the road where I see that. I see people succeed every day doing that. And then I see people in the snake hobby, they're a little bit worried about the market. People are selling, you know, not as much as they were, but they're still selling. That's great, but that's a lot of work, and it's not as scalable as real estate is. So it kind of goes back to my like burnout. Like, need to put more time in something that's not burning me out as much.
makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it turns around like sometime soon or at least stabilizes because that's one of the big things too. Like you look around and like you see like prices like dropping. And even with the prices like dropping dramatically, a lot of times you might see some stuff just sitting.
Yeah.
I know for me, I plan on doing like more shows and just doing more things to like focus on selling the animals that I got to sell. Because admittedly, I got to do a better job of like putting my animals up. Because I got I got 16 hatchings right now for sale that I have not posted or anything like that. Like they're eating good in the neighborhood, they looking good, but I haven't posted them. I hadn't done any of that stuff. I'm gonna take some pictures this weekend though, but I got to do better like on the sales side. And so like for us, one of the things that we plan to do next year is like do more shows. Like we'll
Yeah.
probably do like 5 or 6 shows or however that kind of like falls. And so that'll do a couple things. It's a networking opportunity to get your name out there, and then also like another kind of sales platform versus just like posting up and waiting for someone to ask their wife. And so
I've heard that before. Not once, not twice, maybe 1,000 times. No, that's exactly how Justin started. You know, he would vend at Daytona as a Smoky Mountain, and he would just, I think that's what he was called, but he would put his best animals on the display and just have them not for sale, just to market. You know, and that's so brilliant. And if more people were actually like attentive at their booths, I think they would do so much better. Because you get the people that, you know, just sit behind their booths and they look down at their phone all the time. It's just like, it's not why you're here. Like, you could sell a $500 snake any day, but if you have that conversation with somebody who may be a loyal customer in a year to 5 years, like, that conversation was worth its weight in gold, because that loyal customer is going to keep on returning to you over and over again. You get your name out there, you know. I mean, this podcast alone is probably doing great for you. It should be. So I think that doing the shows, especially like Daytona, the bigger shows, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to vending next year. It's gonna be a grind, but I mean that's part of it, right? That's what I signed up for. So
Yeah.
just
I
going
enjoy
back to like what you're saying, just controlling it, right? Like you know what you can handle. Don't go above and beyond that, and just keep it there, and just pay attention to the signs, and then adjust accordingly. Because circumstances change, life situations change, and stuff like that. And so just kind of being cognizant of that and keeping it real with yourself, right?
Yeah, and like at the same time, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take that leap, and you know you're scared where you're gonna go, but understand that taking that leap is that right decision for you. And if, you know, that is, then jump, you know, go for it. But if it's not, then you need to take a step back and realize, like, okay, where am I heading now? And where can I make the next leap?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Success is definitely not like a straight line from point A to point B. It's like
Oh my God, it's a nightmare, man. That's a journey. Gotta love it.
Hey, but that's what makes it fun, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
All right, boss. So as we get to the end of the show, I do got some wrap up questions for you.
Awesome.
So one of the wrap up questions that I got is, and you may have heard these before, but if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Oof. Right now, because I've lived 2 places and I'm not haven't traveled much. Frederick, Maryland. Fell in love with that place. It is like home away from home. I'll definitely be visiting there before too long. Got the weather, the people, they wanted to be there. Floridians, we don't want to be here. That's the secret. It's like you know, both, like I'm always angry. Yeah, Floridians usually don't want to be here unless you're like down in the party area. But yeah, the food was great. I'm a huge foodie, so that was fun. I love the mountains. I was 8 minutes away from an incredible like state park that you could just hike up a mountain and have a vista that looked over all of Maryland. It was great, man.
4 seasons.
4 seasons. I've never seen 4 seasons. That was my first time seeing snow. I was so happy, man. I logged on to my morning meeting at work, and I'm just like, guys, it's snowing outside. And they're from Spokane, and they're just like, yeah. And I'm like, this is my first time I've ever seen this stuff. So I had a snowball fight with just me. I was just like throwing snowballs around, like, oh my God, this is so cool. But you know, typical Floridian stuff. But yeah, man, spring was beautiful. Fall, got to see the leaves change. it was just so many new experiences, which is why I want to try to get into traveling a little bit more, just to experience what else there is out there. Um, but yeah, it was that place will always hold a you know, dear place in my heart for sure.
That's dope, man. I'm like you, man. Like I've been in this area basically my whole life. Like we're in Gainesville, Florida now, but I'm from Valdosta, Georgia, which is not that far from here, like an hour and a half away from here.
Yeah,
And never been like never had like 4 real seasons. It's kinda like just been hotter,
yeah,
a little bit cool for like 2, 3 weeks. Like it's crazy like the weather here. Like, I mean, you know how it is. Like
no,
it'd
yeah.
be cool for like 2, 3 weeks, and then it'd be hot again, and then
Yeah,
like maybe a week, and then it'd be hot again. You're like, "Man, what's going on?"
got 60 degrees. I remember flying to Aussies the first time when he, it was just like the interview or whatever. And I got on the plane, it was like 85 degrees. And then I flew in, it was like 35 degrees or something. And I'm like, oh man, it's different. Like, that's cold. I loved
Did
it.
you have a jacket? Were you prepared?
Well, I had a Florida jacket. So
Yeah.
no.
It's not prepared. Yeah, that's not prepared. Same thing happened to me. I had went to a conference in Chicago,
Mm,
and I called myself buying like a heavy jacket that was gonna work.
yeah.
Bro, that wind hit me. I was like, ooh.
That will go right through you. It is right.
Yeah, I thought I was prepared. I was not prepared.
That happened to me and my dad. We on the first trip I took to Tinley, boarded the plane, shorts, t-shirt, Florida weather, all that. When we land in Chicago, the people outside were wearing like 4 layers, guiding the planes, and we both look at each other and we're like, we made a horrible mistake. Like we didn't pack heavy at all. Like we had jeans, like that was it. So yeah, we made a quick emergency airport stop at the local hoodie area.
Yeah, that's a different kind of cold, man. That hit your soul. Like, ooh.
I'm a cold weather guy though, so
Are you?
like that. Yeah, definitely.
I like moderate temps. Like I don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't like for it to be too hot, and I don't like for it to be too cold. I just
When
like
it gets to
moderate temps.
Yeah, when it gets to feels like of 130s, I'm out, man. I
Yeah,
don't
that's nuts. That's
Yeah.
nuts. Especially with humidity and all that. That's nuts.
horrible.
So Tinley last year, the weather was great there, like in November.
Oh, really?
I mean, not November, but October.
Mm.
It wasn't too cold. It was just like right at the beginning when it was starting to get a little cool, but it was pretty nice though. So I enjoyed that. But
You
yeah,
going
enough
this
about the weather. This year,
Yeah.
probably not. I was planning on it, but like I just got like a lot of stuff going on here, and so I don't think I'm gonna make it, to be honest. Like I call myself holding out to the last minute, but I mean at this point we're 2 months away.
Yeah.
Airplane tickets gonna be ridiculous, trying to get a room and stuff like that. And I just got way too much going on to keep going out of town back to back, because like I'll be going to Justin's later this year. So that's like the first week in November for that like facility tour.
Nice.
And I just got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So
Have you been to Justin's before?
nah.
Dude, you are going to love it. I got the sneak peek when I mentioned that I went up there for a little bit in 2019. That was when he was building that new facility, and then I was walking in there with him. Dude, it reminds you of the Jurassic Park scene when they're looking through the glass at the people with the eggs and all that. It's like, holy cow, this is just like it's a kid in a candy shop kind of deal. It is
Nice.
such a great area too. It's an awesome area, but the facility is amazing.
Nice. So assuming I don't make it to Tinley, that's gonna be my Tinley.
Do it. Yep. You won't regret it. That's going to be a fun trip for you.
For sure, for sure. Get to see some people who I hadn't seen in a while or hadn't ever met, period, in person at least. So it'll be cool. But
Awesome.
yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Tinley is in the cards this year.
Same here, man. I'm not sure it's going to happen. Again, that time of year is so busy with all these conferences going on. I think maybe BP Con was like the same week as well or something.
Yeah, it's close to it because I remember last year. I think it was like the weekend before.
Yeah,
October.
yeah. That's why I couldn't make it to Tinley last year. So yeah, this year might be the same, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Oh, hey,
it's a lot going on during that time of year.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so if you won $10 million tomorrow, how would you use it?
Real estate, baby. Come on.
Yeah, I already knew that. Like as I was saying, I was like, I already know what he's gonna say.
Yep. That's an easy one, man. If I could make 10 to 20% on that every year,
Oh, nice.
find me doing whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. That's about it.
Absolutely. All right. So last one. If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
That's a great question. Gosh, I'm just gonna go blank on everybody that I've ever had like I would love to speak with, I think, Coldplay, the Chris, the lead singer, just because I would love to know what his life is like. They're one of my favorite bands, and I just think that life would be crazy. Let's see, who else? Dead or alive? Steve Irwin. I think that would just be awesome.
Nice.
And and that third one's hard. To be honest, like when I was a kid, those three were honestly Justin and Brian Barczyk. And I've been able to speak with all three of them. So for me to have met and spoke with all three of them, I'm just going to consider that like, I tackled that one. I already got it. So
Dope. All right. So what's one question you would ask Steve?
As Steve?
Yeah.
Whew, that's stop it. And these are good questions. Man. Well, one of the questions I know, like, I would have loved to have heard what he would have done differently with his life. Because, like, I want to live my life without regrets. And I want to know if there was any regret that he ever had. I think that would be very, very inspirational to me. But, if you were to ask him, like, would you do it again? Heck yeah, he would do it again 100 times over, So, yeah, I would just want to know, like, what he felt like he didn't achieve in his life and how that could impact my life.
Gotcha. That's dope. That's dope. What's your favorite Coldplay song?
Oh, jeez. Viva La Vida, Secrets, Miracles, God, everything. Every single one of them I love. I'm just, yeah, I'm a Coldplay fan. I saw them last year with my sister up in Maryland. And if you guys can make it to a Coldplay show, if you're even like fond of their music, great concert for sure.
Okay. What do we got to do to get you to perform one?
Perform with them?
Yeah, perform one of your songs.
Liquid Courage, man.
One of their songs. What do we got to do to get you to do it?
Oh, no way. Yeah, sorry. I don't
a lot of Liquid Courage.
Yeah, I don't want to break everybody's eardrums. Definitely wasn't born with that skill.
Maybe we can get you to do it at Daytona.
Right? Get me like 3 of those fish bowls. Yeah.
They would just go live from IG. It goes viral. Got like 1 million followers.
Yeah, I'll be dancing on the table. No, if anybody knows me, they're probably laughing right now. That's so not me. I'm the guy in the corner, like,
Nice. Well, bro, man, it's been an amazing show, man. Really been looking forward to getting you on the show. So definitely appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight. Really means a lot. Is there anything that you want the listeners to know about anything you got coming up? Anything you just want them to keep an eye out for?
Man, not right now. I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. If you guys want anything from me, have any questions, or Robbie sings. I do not sing. That's not going on the record. We will delete this recorded. But yeah, man, if I can help anybody out, just with anything, it could be personal development. If you're going through stuff and just need to talk, or if you have any questions about Snake World, I'd be happy to give you my thoughts, opinions, advice, anything.
Dope. And speaking of personal development, I would be remiss if we get out of here and I don't mention this. So hit Robbie up. He can give you some good recommendations for some good personal development books and stuff like that. Any books you want to plug right now, like what you're reading right now?
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna reread a couple books here soon. It's about time for me. But I'm thinking of The Go Giver, one of my favorites. The art. Wait, I'm going blank on it. Dale Carnegie. How to Win Friends and Influence People, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Mhm.
That one is like one of my all-time favorites. The One Thing, another great one. Um, there's plenty of amazing books out there. Um,
I need to read that one, the one thing, because you told me about that one in Tampa,
yeah,
and I bought it, but I just haven't read it yet. But I'm
yeah,
going to read
I
it
read
though.
that in one sitting, man. I was just like, after I read the first page, answered one of my questions I had at the time, so I was like, man, that was worth it, 100%. But yeah, those are all great books. Couple by Benjamin Hardy. If you've heard of that author, he's written some great ones. Um, but it's not about reading the books; it's about implementing what you've learned from reading the books.
For
And
sure.
a lot of people, the huff goals of reading 50 books a year. Oh man, I hit that number. That's so cool. It's really, has it changed your life? Has it impacted your life? And there are some books where I kind of, I close it and I'm like, holy cow, I got a lot to learn from this.
Yeah.
You just start working on how you can implement those little tips and tricks into your everyday life. And by the time you know it, like, who knows where your mental health is going to be? It's going to be great, man. Like, the One Thing for You, I think, will be amazing. But yeah, if somebody's at a fork in the road in their life or something, definitely reach out to me, and I can definitely give you some good book recommendations for sure.
For sure. We talked about this one too, but Atomic Habits, like I've cycled through that one probably like 3 times now at this point,
Yeah,
since I first got it. Uh, I mostly do audiobooks just so I can kind of like listen to it on the go or like multitask. But like I say, yeah, I've cycled through it probably about 3 times, and I'll continue to because every time I listen to it, like I pick up a little something different.
exactly. Yeah, no, that's the whole point about it. Like the uh, what is the one by? God, I am forgetting all these titles, man. But yeah, no, there's just so many books out there that you have to reread at certain stages of your life. You really do, to get the most out of them. They're never a one read and forget type deal. So yeah, if I have any more, I'll try to send them to everybody. But yeah, definitely fill your bookshelves with those types of books that'll change your life.
For sure. For sure. All right, everybody. I appreciate y'all taking the time to come hang out with us tonight. Don't forget, if you can, the link is in the description. If you can donate to Harry's GoFundMe, to the Reptile Lifeline's GoFundMe to help support his family in light of the tragic accident that happened, definitely, if you can do that, do so. Feel free to grab the link, share anything you can do would be much appreciated. And like I said, we're working on kind of like a plan to be able to sell a lot of the animals that are in the collection. And so there will be updates coming for that. So, like I say, very tragic accident. If you got any questions about any of that stuff, feel free to hit me up or you can message the Reptile Lifeline's Instagram. His wife, Anita, is on that account. And so she'll be able to respond to your message as well. So, yeah, definitely.
If I could just add, I'll match the first 100. For anybody who's on this call who donates, I'll do that easily. So if any of you donate, just let me know and I'll put in what I can.
Appreciate that, brother. Respect.
Yeah.
Really means a lot.
Definitely.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming out. Can you hang around for a few minutes?
You got it, man.
All right. Thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.